Failure. It's a word that makes most of us want to crawl under a blanket and binge watch Netflix. But here's the thing. Failure isn't the villain in your story. In fact, it's kind of like the unlikely hero. What if I told you that every single success story that you know and that you admire was built on a mountain of failures? So in this video, I'm going to share with you how failure is actually the secret to success. If you're new here, I'm Sara, and I create this channel to help you build a more fulfilling and loving and happy life through self-mastery and spirituality. So by the end of this video, I want to shift your perspective on what failure is and also give you some examples and actionable steps so that you can embrace your own failures. And maybe I'll even throw in a few personal examples of mine. So what is failure? Most of us view failure as something where we are not good enough, that we're not cut out something, that we should quit, and that we will never make it, no matter what it is. This can be with money, this can be with jobs, this can be with family, this can be with relationships. We can fail at anything. But truthfully, failure isn't the opposite of success. It is the staircase that leads to it. I want you to think of failure as feedback. It's kind of like life's way of saying like, hey, this didn't work out, like pivot and try something else. Think about it this way. Without failure, how can you ever improve? Like, let's think about some tasty chocolate chip cookies, right? And you bake them, but you never taste them. How would you know if there was not enough sugar or too much salt, or it wasn't in the oven long enough, or was in the oven too long? Failure is your taste test for life. And failure is also universal for those who try new things. Everyone experiences it. Like, you're not different than anyone else because you're failing at something and someone else isn't. There's things that you would succeed in that other people do not. What separates successful people from everyone else is the way that they respond to the failure. They learn, they adapt, and they try again. An example of this is Michael Jordan. Do you guys know that he didn't even make his high school basketball team the first time? Or J.K. Rowling, who sent the Harry Potter stories and got denied by 12 publishers, 12, and now is a worldwide phenomenon. Or Oprah Winfrey, who first got fired from her original first TV show, and they told her that she was never gonna make it on TV. Or how about this one? Thomas Edison, if you were unaware, the man who invented the light bulb, failed 10,000 times before getting it right. Like 10,000 times. That is a little insane. I probably would have given up by then. But thank God he didn't, you know? So now we're aware failure is part of the journey. You cannot be successful without failure. So how do we embrace it? Because it's one thing to say, yay, failure is good. And another thing is to actually feel good when you fail. And honestly, the way I see it is failure is just a course correction and a step in the right direction. An example for myself on this is, as many of you know, I've been in sales for a while, almost a decade now. And I started off in car sales and I absolutely loved it. Like, I loved where I worked, I loved the product, I loved the people, like I just loved the job. And I was approached to jump into a general manager position at an LA Fitness back in my hometown. And if you have been following me for a while and you go back to my very, very first YouTube videos, you'll see that my main shtick was fitness and nutrition. So I was beyond excited to start that journey and thought it was going to be the perfect fit. All of my friends, all of my family, everyone I knew was like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect job for you. And I felt that as well. And I was leaving a job that I was very happy at to go do it. I think I lasted 6 weeks. I was so miserable. My migraines were just out of this world and I hated it. It was like the worst job ever. And I didn't look at it as a failure. I thought, okay, well, then clearly that's just not the right thing for me. And I went back to car sales, and I did that for a while until I landed into real estate investing where I'm at now. But I never would have had that experience. I never would have met those wonderful people. And it all just works out if you don't bully yourself about it and talk down to yourself and be like, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough for anything. I'm such a failure at anything I do. Well, let me ask you this. What have you tried that you have failed at? I think the fear of failure is actually worse than actually failing. You know what I mean? Like, it's that fear and that anxiety and that like the wavering of should I do it or should I not, and then you get frozen. Where if you just did it, you would find out whether or not it was something for you or not. You know, like, failure is a step, and all you have to do is ask yourself, okay, well, what did I learn from this? What can I change? And now for me, that was, okay, going back to the job that I had previously. But if you're trying something new and you don't like it, or back to the cookie reference, okay, well, what's something I need to change in this recipe to make it better? It's all about learning and reflecting about why it wasn't something that aligned for you. And is there something small that you want to change within it, or do you want to pivot in a completely different direction? And here's another tip. The faster that you fail, the faster you learn. Like, think of a failure as a test, one that gets you closer to the answer every single time. I mean, for instance, if you think about like relationships, right? And you go through this relationship and you get out of it and you reflect, okay, what were things that I liked and what were the things I didn't like about that person, me when I was with that person, the relationship as a whole. And then you move into your next relationship and you have that lesson. And so you can understand not to repeat it. And if you start to see those repeating patterns, and I've talked about it in a few videos, I think this one specifically, if you want to get into the relationship side of this, and you keep learning and growing and reflecting and learning and growing and reflecting until you get to that ideal relationship, that ideal job, that ideal place of living, or whatever it is. You know, it's kind of like playing a video game. So you fail a level, right? And then you just try it again. You learn the patterns and you learn how it works, and eventually you will win if you don't give up. Failure feels a lot less scary when you have a solid support system. So whether it's people in your personal life, like friends, family, your spouse, kids, whatever, or if it's mentors or an online community or whatever it is, people that support you, and you can find that online, honestly, anywhere. If you go to like Facebook or Reddit or whatever, lean on those people to help you get back up and keep going. And a really big thing for me is that, you know, I've also had failed businesses. And instead of beating yourself up for quote unquote failing, I want you to praise yourself for trying, for getting out of your comfort zone, and understanding that even if it doesn't feel like it, it is a step in the right direction. You're learning about yourself along the way. You're pushing your boundaries. And when is that ever a bad thing? Like, when is it ever a bad thing to try something new? Like, even just doing that and trying something is a huge, huge step in the right direction and a win in my book. And you just keep doing it until you figure it out. And the thing is the mental toll it takes on you to be constantly beating yourself up or not even allowing yourself to try something is way worse than actually giving it a go and it doesn't work out. I know this is a little cliche, but it's like, wouldn't you rather at the end of your life be like, damn, look at all the stuff I did, look at all the stuff I tried, look at all the experiences I had, rather than, wow, I wish I had the balls to do that. I wish I had tried that. Like, I would rather live a life of multiple failures and new experiences than a life of just mundaneness. It's probably not a word, but whatever. And like regret, you know, like, don't regret not doing things. Was that like a triple negative? So here's just the bottom line of all of this. Failure isn't something to avoid. It is something to embrace. Embrace it. It's proof that you're trying and you're growing and you're moving forward. Every single successful person that you admire has failed. So don't let the fear of failure stop you from chasing your dream. Fail big, fail often, and most importantly, just keep going. Continue learning about yourself, continue growing, continue trying, because every failure is a step closer to your personal success story. I hope this video landed the way that I intended it to. I love you guys so much. I want nothing but the best for you and for you to find your own personal success. I love you guys so, so, so much. You don't even know. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can hang out again next week, and share this video with someone that may need the reminder. And of course, don't forget, be limitlessly yourself.